Hello, and welcome to the very first guitar lesson for my $7 Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your generosity, and I hope you get something out of these lessons as I continue to do them. I'm going to try to keep the lessons fairly simple, unless there's a real call for me to go into something really hardcore technical, which I'm not super great at, and there's probably plenty of other great guitar players out there with videos on YouTube that you could study for those. I'm just going to hopefully try to share some of my personal approaches to guitar playing through these videos in the hopes that maybe whoever's watching these will enjoy them, get something out of them, and be able to, maybe bring something into their own playing, or maybe it'll, put a light bulb off in their head to go and try something else completely new. I don't know. But for the very first one, I thought I'd try something super simple. You don't have to have a lot of technical ability for this lesson because it's all about alternate tunings. For those of you who don't know, alternate tunings are when you take the guitar, which is tuned E, A, D, G, B, E, from lowest string to highest string. That's the standard, it's called standard tuning. And alternate tunings are when you change the pitch of those open strings. And it's utilized a lot in, folk music. Growing up playing metal, I never really encountered it much. Really, with the metal I was listening to, the biggest alternate tuning is maybe when, like drop D, or tuning the entire guitar down a whole step, but it's still you don't really have to change your approach to the strings because the intervals between the strings remain the same, just, transposed lower. So I never really encountered it much, but through my experiences with Maudlin of the Well, KO Dot, I learned a lot because a lot of those songs were in alternate tunings, and it got me wanting to experiment with them in my own playing. So this is kind of my approach to them. It's different it may be different, I should rather say, from other people's, or it might be similar. I don't know. I just wanted to share with you how I approach them and how that works in terms of coming up with song ideas. So first, I wanted to show you, I thought this would be an appropriate lesson because the very first Patreon song I did, A Journey Through Snow-Covered Pines to the King of All Night Streaming, I know, a mouthful, is in an alternate tuning. And so this is the guitar, my 12 string, which I use to record the song. And here is the open strings in their alternate tuning. And if you've heard the song, you'll probably recognize that from the first part of the song. My lesson is going to be about showing you how I do alternate tunings. Is something I'm going to actually demonstrate on the other guitar. For a point of reference, the strings on this guitar are tuned D. This is from low to high. G. D. G, B flat, E flat, and all together again. And I can't exactly remember how I came up with this particular tuning. I can't remember my progression. If I probably started off in like a G minor, open G minor tuning or something like that, and just started twisting the strings until it came up with this really, what I thought was kind of a cool, kind of mysterious sound. It's minor, but it has a little bit of other weird tensions in it. I don't know. So yeah, so that's the guitar I've used and the tuning I used to record Journey Through Snow-Covered Pines to the King of All Night Streaming. So for an example, the main riff in that song So that, you know, one of the things I do a lot with my alternate tunings is I like to create droning sounds. So for this one, it's really just taking the open drone of the strings and adding, and that's the melody that I play on the upper strings. And you know, I'm not going to teach it to you right now, but if you're playing along, you could probably figure it out if you're in the tuning. It's not that hard of a song. But it's just the way that those notes, that single melody line, resonates against the droning strings, and that's kind of something that I like to do when I'm in an alternate tuning. Is if I have a really cool droning bass, B-A-S-E, not B-A-S-S, it allows me, instead of having to think about playing chords, I'm thinking more about, okay, well, what if I came up with a cool melody that kind of plays off of the drone? And that's kind of how this song came about. You know what I mean? So that is just an example of one way I use alternate tunings, which is to get a cool droning, you know, core of the strings, the open strings, and throw some single notes on top of it in any order. And again, like I said, you don't have to be super technically proficient to do this. I'm not doing anything crazy technical. I'm not doing anything that requires, you know, lots of finger exercises or anything. I'm not doing any crazy bends. This is really just taking, you know, just going by ear. Just, you know, you take a alternate tuning and then you just kind of add. You know, hear how the different sounds interact with the open strings. See, there's a cool, you know, that's not so good. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool too. You know, so you just kind of just. Again, anybody with kind of, you know, basic rudimentary technique can do this. So.